Streaming live.
Yay. Yeah, I think so. I think we're streaming live. I just want to make sure, yeah, the sound is off. Beautiful. Okay. Top of the morning for you from New Zealand, from Mary Jo. Evening time in the UK for these amazing beans, quantum beans, Santari green and Solera green. Thank you so much for joining me on this very quantum conversation about innovating consciousness. And I was inspired to invite both of you on because you're absolutely inspirational beings of consciousness. And I would call,
Oh,
I mean, for
shucks.
my, oh, shucks, I know. Don't get all blushy on me. Activators of consciousness. I mean, that's, I don't even know if you realize to the extent that you do that, but that's what I see you do. And you helped me with activating my own deeper multidimensional quantum consciousness remembrance. I see you doing it with other people. I also see you not even maybe being aware of how much you're doing it because it's just so innate. And I think in your nature as conscious beings. So yeah, so anyways, I would just love, I'm delighted to be here with you, number one, and number two, to get your take on consciousness. It's one of the understandings that seems to be becoming more collective and mainstream is this consciousness conversation as becoming more relevant and needed, and because just of where we're at, to understand who we really are and what's really going on. So would you like to take it off, Solera, as you're nodding away there and
well, I think
what is going on? What is happening?
You were talking about looking at it as a kind of progression over some years, so probably the last 30-ish years, because before that I really wasn't aware of all this stuff. But I would say, 25, 30 years ago, if you were accessing consciousness, it was like you reached up and out somewhere to get something, and it was how it was, and you downloaded or channeled wisdom, and you searched the Akashic records, and that's how it was back then. But what that's, I'll take the leap as to what it is today. It's a sentiently intelligent, evolving source space of life, leaping by moment. So instead of it is what it is, or at least that was our perception of it back then, it is what it is, it's always been that way, and then we're going to get new wisdoms from it. My sense is now that it's like it's a playground of super quantum creation, and you work with, it's where your relationship with source inside you and source in the air around you, because it's all come very present now. It's not out there anymore. It's like all here. And so the knowing just comes rushing at you. The new ideas and possibilities just pop while you're in the shower, or come to you in a whoosh as you're outside having a walk, or, it's like this flow of something. So I don't any longer, well, sometimes I still go, well, what? And I'll ask a question, but I used to have to go way out of my body to access it, as if I had to transfer from human to consciousness. And now it's a living, breathing, intelligent source of life in me and in air and in others. And so that's amazing. And what's happened with the connectivity of us all with that. So when we don't have to go out of our bodies, too, we get our knowing instantaneously. But also, I think we're now able to connect source to source. So every life form, all the people, all the earth, all the stars, all the galaxies, source to source. And that is, I think for humans, it's a relatively new way of connecting. Again, it may have been that way at some point in time, but it allows for new options of connecting, of creating, of innovating. So now what I do with the group is called the Memoration of Maestros, of which you are a part. We collaboratively bring our own unique genius and maestroism and superpowers and whatnot to the game of creating and innovating what is possible. So we're creating not just how do we create a reality, but how do we innovate the future of life on this planet? And so we're drawing in new concepts, new breakthroughs, new ideas, new ways of living, and we presence it. It's all about living it for me here, beautifully, powerfully, wonderfully. And it's a lifestyle as opposed to something I do sometimes. Do you see what I mean? So that would be my overview of how it's.
So one of the shifts that I've seen you hold very strong to, regardless of what's happening on the planet, is this knowingness and this redirect for those of us who forget at times that we're not small humans with problems to solve, that we are these incredible creational beings with this incredible infinite potential to innovate, to weave, to create with, and to create what it is we truly desire for the highest desire, whatever words want to put it, of consciousness, innovation, because we can, because it's joyful, it's fun, and then to, you know, it seems like now more collectively that we can actually embody more of that, as you say, and become more realized that, oh, this is who we all are. And that's why the conversation about consciousness and energy and the science is catching up, and because it's like, oh, we're all like breaking into this collective more and more realization, and we're creator beings. And it seems like the technology is part of that play kit that we have to actualize our creativity and imagination.
I would agree with that 100%. Bravo. Yeah, well said.
And what about for you, Santari? What's your take? And I'm getting a little ethereal here, so I'm going to switch around the lighting as you talk, Santari.
Okay. Do your magic thing. Well, I suppose I'd say pretty much the same as Sarah. If I go back round about 30 years, perhaps, we were living in a time when people were really interested in New Age stuff, in spirituality and opening to something which is beyond their normal experiences. So therefore you go on workshops and seminars in order to participate in deepening your experience of life or going further out and beyond what you know to be true. So I would say that when about that time, maybe about 30 years ago, we were living in a closed energy system. So people would think that their physical body would be all that there is. And so people would have experiences, out-of-body experiences, working with crystals, doing Reiki, in order to get a sense of energy sensitivity, in order to perceive that they perhaps had an energy field which extended out from their physical sense of themselves. And I think the progress that's made has allowed people to take on board the knowingness that there was an experience of life that didn't just focus upon physicalness itself, but was actually allowing you to experience a non-physical sense of being. And that's almost like exploded your concept of what it is to be a human being, and allowing you to reach out and to embody other concepts about life in the universe as a whole thing. And the more that people go out and explore and extend their sense of their, let's say, energy field, then the more that they realize that they're not fixed in time and space, that perhaps they can experience a life which is luxuriantly wonderful, and it gives them understandings about things that they have never learned or been taught during their whole life. Things just come to them. You might say intuition, you might say that they are accessing higher wisdom or whatever the terminology might be, but it's something then it's going beyond their experience of self. So people are no longer self-absorbed, they're actually exploring this greatness of life, this universe of possibilities. And therefore, the questioning is no longer about how I originated in this world. It's more about who am I being now when I have access to things that I didn't previously know or have any experience of before. So the inquiry isn't just about going outwards, it's an inquiry about going inwards to see what extends into this other dimensional sense of self, this inner life, this inner world, this inner universe. I think one of the poets talked about it in terms of a universe being in a grain of sand. So that these ideas, these thoughts, these concepts that we're not human beings looking like this, fixed in a particular shape, but that we're creational movements of energy that have experiences beyond the thought of who you are fitting in the universe. And so therefore consciousness for us keeps on evolving and changing and transforming and moving because our ideas aren't fixed anymore. They're not learned things. We know when we talk with people in podcasts like this, in teleseminars, in workshops, the conversation itself is giving people an experience. And it allows them to feel that they're living in the energy wave, the energy quantum field that you are talking about. It's actually saying that you are also this. You don't have to ascend to it. You don't have to go through all sorts of processes through a period of time to get there, because there is no destination. There is no time period set on your own evolvement. And therefore,
that's the cosmic giggles. You get the joke.
it takes a lot of stress out of people wondering how they're going to get, to experience the spiritual awakening in life. Well, some of the stuff I see just through Googling is just, you're going through this and you're going through that. That's interesting. How about you just have a moment of complete realization, which changes your whole idea of beingness and concepts of existence and self-actualizing, and that you feel that you just wake up the next day completely changed. And you question, what's changed? Can I sustain this? Is there something that I need to do? And of course, the answer is no. This is a normality now that you've entered into, and that you're going to feel your way through it as you live your life in a more luxuriant, transformative way. So I'll probably stop there because you've got some questions you want to ask yourself.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to add in as well. It feels like on the planet now, a lot of the challenges that people are actually facing is not keeping up to speed with the evolutionary expanse of consciousness.
Yeah.
And it's going back to what you said, Santari, because that what did you call it, closed-in system energetically, whether we call it the more mental realm or the egoic realm or a more limited bandwidth, I call it, of consciousness. And it's like, for those who aren't able to kind of keep expanding and keep up to speed with this new orientation to who we truly are, and with a new reference, because I feel like that's one of the biggest challenges, is if people don't have a new story or a new reference to really open up the container, so to speak, and to start to orientate and operate from that rather than that small closed system, as you say. And then that's when the energy gets stuck. And a lot of the challenges then, and then if people think they're, that they're again, it's all problems rather than it's all potential.
Yeah.
And so that's where I see that both of you are just so good at helping us all unstick unstick from those places where we can get stuck. And as you said, Santari, come back with more of that energetic resonance and feeling and activation. And I know for myself, that was one of the first things, Solera, when I went on your website many, many years ago. You were on a tele summit or something with Adela Rubio, I think it was. And that's how I came across you. And it was the energy I got from your website. I'd never experienced anything like that. It was a resonant, it was a zinging, it was like, whoa, what is this? There was an activation, and it was because the energy behind your words, the consciousness, the energy behind your written words and your creativity that was infused into that. And that's when we're really talking about consciousness and energy. It's not the words, it's not really the presentation so much as the energy and consciousness and intentionality that's coming behind it. And we're all becoming more sensitive to that. But again, if you don't realize that that's a good thing and know how to navigate it, and then the mental sphere comes in and goes, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Why am I feeling so much?
That's beautifully said. Let me explain something in a particular way.
Sure.
So, 20 years ago, we would have gone through steps. So we went from closed individuals to more open, more connected, to whole, to expansive, to accessing our greater being. And now we've come into what I would call source being and universal being, and being creating yourself rather than be stuck with how you got brought up and what you think you are, so we can create ourselves. Well, what's changed in those 20 years since, or 25 years since, is that now you can go straight from closed to boom, like, and that is disconcertingly challenging for people, because as they make that boom leap into it, they don't have to go through step by step, and they might, and that might make it easier. But what I'm finding right now is people are just going kapow. Oh, there's a doorway into something so much more expansive, so new. And what happens is that I think disconcerts most people is there's a sense of loss of the self you know. And if you can surrender that gleefully, you can go, whoa, what's possible? Who can I create myself as? What am I becoming? Which is what we do. We go leap, next leap. Okay, next. We're like, we don't have a fuss about it.
If they start to broadcast it on the news, everybody is released from their old identities. You are now a conscious creator. Dream, my people, dream.
I think they'd all think we were nuts. But it is.
But you know what I mean? It's like if that was on the mainstream news, if that permission slip was given collectively, then there wouldn't be such a challenge with it, because people go, oh, okay, this is what's going on. And I'm okay. And, we're learning new tools and innovation of how to be with this new way of being, new way of knowing ourselves.
When I talk to people who are going through that, there might be new people who are just understanding it, or even some of my bigger players, and we're doing stuff together. That sense of lostness can be really confusing. Well, I don't know who I am. Everything seems to have changed. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. My vision's changed. My mission has changed. My greater being, who am I? And it's that once you can surrender the even need to have an identity, as you said, or a persona, a fixed state of, oh, well, I am this way because I've always been this way, and this is, how I grew up. But you become a creator of yourself, life, and the world and the universe. And one of the things I think for me that makes that
that's like a new identity as well, though, isn't it? It's like shifting the identity in a way that, oh, we're creator beings.
Yes.
And we're imaginators. We are the dreamers. Yes. It's very different than I'm in my contained unit and I need to figure all this out, and I need to not feel so much, and be safe and all that.
Well, I find as people make the move from regular human beings in an individual body, and maybe not quite fully connected to everybody in life, but then they become, boom, quantum source creator beings, you could say. And it's available to everybody. Everybody's going to get there, as far as I'm concerned. And what helps is to be good with it, to be okay with it, to celebrate it, to have an adventure with it, not to be concerned, oh, I
I'll just
feel
say
confused.
something quirky and funny. But like some days I'm having trouble digesting my magnificence today. Because it's like,
Beautifully put.
like I can feel it in my body, because the physical body to me is reflective of where my consciousness and energy is at
Yeah.
and what's happening. So I listen to it. It's wisdom. And it's like, oh, okay, there's new energy coming in. It's that next level of potentiality and expansion, or
Yeah.
light codes, or whatever people may use. And
Yeah.
it's bumping up against some of this old energy,
Yeah.
that this
And
old cellular memory would say energy in my body. And it's like, oh, okay, I need, and that's often when I need to actually rest, to alchemize, to allow that alchemization and that receptivity, and to allow, whatever that new birthing is through,
yes.
The body and the being.
Yeah. Beautifully said. I would say if you treat it as an adventure of creating your becoming, like we are becoming sources ourselves, creators ourselves. We are learning the art of alchemical source creation, I call it, which is a big mouthful of words, but
I love it. I love it. Yeah. The art of alchemical source creation.
yeah.
Beautiful.
So anyways, that's me. Santari, you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I don't tend to go along with those terms. So they just float over my head, masters of the quantum field or whatever else. What I would say is, I said to Solera back in 1997, I remember this quite clearly. I said, I'm only going to do what I want to do, what I love to do. And there was a little bit of a protest at the time. Only what you love to do? Yep, only
How
what I
dare
love
you?
to do.
I wasn't as advanced
do
at
the
the
washing
same
up?
time.
You think you're 2 years of age?
But who's going to do the dishes? Who's going to clean the bathroom? You don't want to do it. Me. But I've changed my view on that,
Well,
because he was quite right.
yeah, well, we share the house chores, all the activities,
Yeah.
It just almost like you take on your sense of what it is to do. And I think that's true for us about whatever we do. You've got to have this sense and knowingness that your energy will go to certain things and it won't go to other things.
Yes.
And there's also timing in this as well. So if, Solera's saying, should we do a podcast today? And I'm feeling too right, so we won't do it.
Yeah.
Or I'd say to her, well, you go on and do it if you've got that zip for it, if you've got the energy for it. So it is an understanding that we have together, that we allow a partnership to develop, which doesn't intrude upon the other person's lifestyle in any way whatsoever, but it gives them complete opportunity and space to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to be very generous with yourself too, that you don't have to fix yourself into something that say, I've got to do this, when really something is saying to you, no, you don't, or you don't have the energy for doing that because you really want to do something else. So you have to enter into this inquiry all the time to find out what's really true for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think what I see in you, Mary Jo, is that you're joyful, that you are exuberant, that it brims out of you, that you are just bubbling all the time. So I know that there is some youthful activity going on with you, which it really says to me, you're ageless, you're timeless. You've entered into this relationship with life, which is like having the exuberance, being persistent there all the time. And I think that's an important thing to mention, because I look outside the window sometimes and people are going along, they're doddering along, they've twisted their bodies into various shapes. And you wonder how that happened. What happened to the young child, or, in their process of growing up and evolving. There's a different way to live now, which doesn't have to constrain and put you into various boxes about who you are becoming. So what we're talking about is a freedom of the body and a movement of expression that allows us to show this exuberance in very beautiful, powerful, and delightful ways, because that's how you're treating yourself, and that's how you really come across to other people as well.
Yeah.
Can I just add
you
that
talked about there that I just want to mention this there, just because Santari is touching on like what you're talking about, like the evolution of relationship, because I wanted to tap into that as well. You know, what you spoke about, that you're not intruding on the other person, you're sovereign beings. You don't have to use that word, but like you're, you know, that there's such a deep respect for the self and a deep self-responsibility for your energy, for your consciousness, that it's all very conscious. Everything is conscious. It's a consciousness with yourself and awareness and awakenedness, and there's a consciousness in your relationship. So you know you don't have it's just not there. It's like when you really awaken deeply inside yourself, you know, why whatever I give out, I'm going to get back. Or you know, I would never hurt another, because I know that would impact my own consciousness and energy. So it's like same with relationship, at least that's been my experience. It's like you just, you know, you're such a deep reverence and honor for yourself that you have it for the other person, and whatever they choose and whatever is their alignment and their highest joy and exuberance and freedom or flow or connection.
That's
I just want to
absolutely
mention
true.
that about the evolving relationships.
So I would say that both Santari and I live in what I call superflow.
Sun is coming in.
And in superflow, you are always aligned, like as if you have a universal compass that's always leading you to the right moment, the right place, the right synergy, the right people, the right answers, the right solutions, it's like, and we are now that way together in a partnership. So there's no glitches, no upsets anymore. You know, we Centauri said the other day, I'm a master of timing. And he is. You know, he'll show up.
Claim it.
And there goes the car, you know, like for him to move into where he's a master of time. One of the things he's a master of. But we stay in that flow together and we don't break that flow. But also, personally, living in superflow brings genius, ideas, whole books get written by us. I've written 18, he's in his 5th now. Ideas come to you. And the other thing about superflow is you are moving through you the forces and powers that the universe or the infinite or source, whatever you want to call it, has on offer to get the job done. So you have high vitality. You know, you have great ideas. You have a synergistic, easy, effortless life. I don't have to go push for making money in the business. I just, as he said, do what I love when I want, when I feel like I love to do it. And that there's almost a magnetism to that. It's authentic, it's spontaneous, it has genius flow in it. It's got this great energy. And the other thing is that I'm now a field, a vast, I might even say I'm the universe, but I'm not a body and a persona anymore. I'm a vast field of possibility that sources in my case, mine is the future of this world to be brilliant. That's what I hold source, stand for, create. And so it's a very different thing, because you stop having your attention on yourself. And that is a very good thing to do, because the minute you take your attention off yourself and you put it on what you're for, then yourself starts to look pretty good. You know, it all starts to flow differently. You really like yourself. You really, you even in times when we're going through the next shift to the next level of who we are, it's not disconcerting. It's like, oh, well, I'll watch TV today then. You know, it's like, well, I integrate, etc. So it's a very different way of living, and hugely practical and hugely fun as well.
Yeah. Well, a few things that's coming to mind as you're talking is releasing resistance.
Yep.
The energy can just flow through you.
Yep.
And you don't you don't doubt or question, you know, through a limited mindset, we'll say.
Yep.
You know, and then you can allow, and even allow, as you said, to rest or integrate.
Yeah.
Again, without it's so much of the mental stories or the emotional stories.
Yeah.
That actually stick the energy so that it's not
Yeah.
flowing and integrating as seamless and graceful as it could do.
Yeah.
It could be.
You know, one of the things that gets in the way is beliefs. You have a belief, and that belief has a set construct to it.
Yeah. But it's also reflective of how powerful we are.
Well, yes, absolutely. But
You know, because if we
I
believe
have
it,
surrendered
it's gonna be.
beliefs. So it's not that I
Yeah.
don't believe in anything, but I'm quite willing to always
Beyond
adapt
belief.
and evolve and make a new belief for the next
Yeah.
thing, and then
Yeah.
know that, and then it'll
like-
change again.
It's like what we used to feel like in the small identity kind of was the construct. So the beliefs was very much our construct. But then
Yes.
once you kind of pop out of it, it's like, oh, now beliefs can be my plaything. That just like, as you said with Santari, I am master of timing. Yeah, that's my new belief as the creator that I am. This is how I'm choosing it. This is how I'm directing the energy to create my life. That you know, I'm always going to get that perfect parking space, you know, on the ground level of how we show up every day. And that's that's the practicality of it, which is beautiful. And
gosh,
you get to just follow your joy. And that and to me, that's the awakened consciousness. Like our joy is the compass.
Yes,
whatever is our highest joy
absolutely.
is actually our highest potential compass of
Yes.
creation, of abundance, of flow, of engagement, of synchronicity. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Woohoo! Okay, well, I don't want to keep it too much longer, so we keep it short and sweet. I know you're big and magnificent and short and sweet. So, any final words on either the innovative consciousness or evolving relationships, and just what you're seeing, as in maybe looking into the future now of. Especially in our relationships, actually, I feel like there's going to be a lot of shifts and changes and challenges and adaptation as people are exploring their consciousness in new ways and understanding themselves in new ways as well.
I would say the more you're excited about the adventure and the new becoming, the easier it gets. And just and in terms of relationship, if you love yourself, love life, relationships work. The right one or ones or friends or whatever it is will come into your life. And you can't hold your past like, well, you got to fit my things, you know, like you have to say, well, there's magnificence there. So how do I be with that magnificence in a way that we are in this kind of dance of flow and creation together with grace and joy? That's how I would say it.
Beautiful, beautiful. So would you say that there's a level of acceptance
No,
of that?
I wouldn't call it
level of
acceptance.
Allowing?
No, I wouldn't call it that either. It's a co-creation.
Co-creation.
You become, it's a partnership of co-creation. You partner, and I think that's where relationships, friendships, family, all of it works best when it don't have to be up to the same thing. You just both have to be up to it, up for something. And then you partner in making sure that you're both getting up to that. And not like, oh, tell you what to do or push you to do it. No, it's a co-creative partnership. That's just a natural way to be together. So that's how I would say it. I noticed Santari smiling, so go for it.
I would say that your focus isn't upon yourself and it's not upon the other person.
Yeah. It's on greatness.
It's upon, as Sarah say, something that's far way beyond that.
Yeah.
So you've got to really decide what's the most amazing thing that you're creating at this moment and go for that.
Yeah.
And love the things that you do, and the passion with which you do it will somehow be picked up and embodied by the people who listen to the podcasts, who find that you're an amazing creator in yourself, and the waves in which you're generating. If you see yourself as someone whose influence stretches beyond this world, then it's very easy for people just to feel the swell of what it is that you yourself are sourcing without being whacked, to smithereens by the energy of it, because you're almost like allowing people to be in that space with you. And again, it's not a personal thing. It is something that sometimes it is so indescribable what it is that you personify that you can't language it enough to be able to present it to other people. But the fact that you are present enough to something in yourself which reaches far away and beyond the ideas of being a human being, the definition of a human being, that is the most amazing thing that you can keep as a focus. Because let's face it, we love something, whether it's a passion for other people and seeing how they thrive and grow and change and transform and are magnified by something that you might have said, or you've given them an inspiration to go ahead and do something else, or they feel that they've now been given permission to live life in an amazing, constructive, creative way, then that is almost like your gift. But you can't keep it small. You just allow it to be whatever it itself wants to be. So that's where we say you are then creating something which is more than what you can imagine it to be, what you can think of it to be as a gift to other people, because it itself will grow and change and transform itself as well as the people that it touches.
Yeah. Beautifully said.
Yeah, I mean, my own, like this, I feel like our biggest challenge is just not getting in the way of that as humans. Like as we talk about beliefs or identity or the past or whatever. It's like to be so present and so available that the consciousness is just moving through this vessel of our humanness as multi-dimensional connected beings. And just getting so kind of tuned up and allowing of that and familiar that we dance with it. And it's like, yeah, this is my dance. This is, there's no resistance to it. From, I guess, what in the past would have been for survival. There's some of the reasons we closed down because it wasn't safe, or in order to get our needs met, or whatever it was. And then it's like this shift now is like it really it's like the old isn't working, or I call it the old consciousness, but like this new consciousness really is everything that you're sharing about the joy and the co-creation and getting into that bigger sense of who we truly are, to actualize it actually. And as you said, even with that whole vision, it's like you might not even be able to describe what it is. But that's what I call the luxury of hindsight. Like you look back and you're like, oh, that's what, been up to these last few years, and what the greater vision was, or at least in a way that you can actually describe it, or, other people can actually see it.
And I think
I'd also add that when you embodying what we've been discussing, your language, your vocabulary changes. There are no blockages. There are no challenges. There are no negative influences. Something comes in, sweeps that away, and is present. So you're living in a different creative and imaginative space of possibilities. So if you see yourself as a source of vast potential, for example, then you will be living your life quite differently and talking about it in those terms, which again is that separation from how it has been to what it is now becoming.
And can I just add, because that's interesting about the potential, and because there was a time, probably when you first met me and when we did the stuff in Australia, I was teaching coaches to be visionary and transformative. So how to get people to achieve their potential. That's not what I do now. What I do now is get people to get that they are masterfully, wonderfully activators of possibilities for being, for futures, for worlds, for universe, for whatever they're into, whether it's nature or oceans or animals or, you know, whatever. And for me, that discovery that we have access to an activational power to elevate, to innovate, to evolve, to quantum leap, the whole of everything is outstanding. And there's a lot of people who say, is she on something? But for me, it's so natural now.
Whatever it is, give me some.
But it's so
That's what I said.
it.
That's what I said when I met you guys. Whatever they're having.
Yeah.
I had that in me too somewhere. And that was the activation, the remembrance.
It's,
you know,
it's
and I
the
think that's
learning
what
this,
you've helped so many with.
yeah, it's this learning that we have the capacity to source newness, to source possibility, to source reality, to source beautiful things into the world. I don't just mean artistically, but that too, but
Yeah.
alchemically or
Creators, truly
creationally.
creator beings.
Yeah. And for
Creational,
me, I can
creator.
hold the whole world as turning out. And then I do what is mine to do, and I help other people to, you know, get clarity and fulfill what theirs is to do. And I see their magnificence and I call them into themselves. But it's really teaching the skill of activating what's waiting to happen for us all. There is a world of wonder waiting for us. And it's not just you raise the vibration or you know, change the consciousness or create new beliefs or new techniques. No, it's that you get into a partnership, a relationship with source, universe, consciousness, synergistic words, to activate and actualize what is waiting for us all. And that's beyond potential. I would say that's possibility or the new dreaming of wherever it comes from, what we can possibly be. And that's my, that's
what's
my
come to
thing.
me to share, to add in as well, at the end, because I feel like in the old consciousness, it's the either or. I'm the human, or there's the creator, and it's outside of me, and I'm separate from it, as you began at the beginning.
Yeah.
And now, you know, as we now, it's like, oh, it's all here.
Yeah.
I am it. I am the and. I am that I am. I am whatever I'm focused upon and intention with my intention
And it's funny because way
activating
back I
with.
would have said, oh, it'll be great when I'm finished being this, because then I can go out there and be that. And now I'm like, are you kidding me? Oh, I'm loving it right here. This
That's
is
been
the
waiting to
power,
get in
baby.
here for a long time.
This is where it's at right here. And I want to do it right here and stick around for as long as possible to have fun sourcing what is coming. Because it's coming, and the more of us that can activate and actualize that, what wants to be done.
Ta-da!
Ta-da, there you go.
Wonderful. Do you have anything else to add, Santari? And then if you just drop your, I mean, your website is both your names anyways, santarigreen.com, soleragreen.com. You get all the information.
Simple.
Amazing courses. I mean, these two are just to me, like sometimes when I've been going through my own stuff, I'm like, yeah, you've got it. You're, as you said, you're holding the bigger vision, the bigger consciousness. So in some ways, I was like, right, I can dive in, I can be in the muckiness of whatever I need to be just in that moment, just trusting my own source codes. And knowing that you're holding that vision, or more than a vision, you know, a knowingness, really. You know, it's so beautiful. I'm so grateful. I mean, I'm so celebratory as well that now it's all becoming more embodied, more actualized, more relevant, you know, to more and more people. So thank you so much for sharing this I wouldn't say conversation, but I want to say consciousness.
I love
Mary Jo, you're all hot.
Oh my goodness. That's brilliant. I can't get my Zoom to do that yet.
Love
will.
being with you too. Thank you so much.
Oh, that was fabulous.
Mwah.
Thank you.
And to everybody watching, thank you so much. Yay.